Mhm.
Hello? Hello?
Hey, Carolyn,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Let me see if we can admit more people here. Yeah, we're waiting on everybody. Still,
Yeah, yeah, I think so. He said one person dialed in. That's probably you.
yeah, just wrapping up dinner probably.
Yep. First and third Mondays are not very good for me. I usually have a church thing. First and third Mondays.
Well, this was not a regular meeting, I think. We had to do this because of a deadline.
I didn't know of a deadline either.
Hmm. Did you get that letter? The Mary Lou said she got a letter to you.
I got, from Michael Pell and something about the Belchertown lands giving to the natives. But
Yeah.
but I don't have any meeting minute from last meeting because she just sent them out,
Okay.
and of course I didn't get it.
Yeah. No worries. We'll see what we may have to postpone voting on that for next time.
Yeah. Is Janice Stone coming in?
I don't know. I assume she is.
Mm-hmm.
What time do you have there, Karen?
I have 7:05, but my clock may be just turning 7 now because I think Bill keeps it 5 minutes fast.
Okay.
What time you have?
Well, my computer says 7 past 7. Well, it's a little fast.
There.
It's fast. Yeah, it's just a hair before 7. Mm. Hey, Miriam.
Hi there. Is that Karen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, Karen's Miriam.
Hi. How you been?
I'm all right.
Just extra busy.
Is that Leslie?
Maybe.
Somebody just signed on his iPhone.
Hi, it's me. I came in a different way, so I'm going to try again so that I have video, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Mary Lou?
Yeah. There's Janice.
Hi, Janice.
One more. Hi, Janice. Is that Mary Lou on the iPhone again?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I think we've got all of us who are gonna make it tonight. Let me, I gather Greg is not gonna make it. And who else is it? That's, I spoke to, by the
Isabel?
way, no, I spoke to Itzel. She's definitely putting in a resignation. And we'll see what happens in 6 months if she wants to come back.
Who's that?
Itzel, Itzel Florinina. Yeah. So let's get started. We've got a few things here. Let me just check my agenda. Did everybody get the minutes? Are we approving those?
No, we're not. I don't have them ready.
Okay, forget that. Scratch the minutes. We're gonna look at, so the first thing on the agenda is the CPA Guide Board proposal.
Well, I thought it was a letter of support for the Belgertown rematriation. It's Actually,
Yeah, I just got this from the town website, so let's go for the letter. In fact, I will share it with you right now. One second. Did you have a chance to look at this at all? It's fairly short, so can you see the letter on the screen?
yes.
Yes.
Great. So this is actually addressing the board that is managing a transition of the Lamson Brook Farm. I didn't count all the acres, but it's a substantial size. It has several parcels, like 5 or 6. They have received mention from the Nipmuc people that they might be interested, that they are interested in being a part of the process of, distribution of those parcels. So this letter is essentially addressing that board to let them know that we support what's called rematriation or return of land of this part, hopefully most of the parcel, but and there's legislation in the works that could do this. My understanding, though, is that perhaps the legislation has been in the pipeline for a while, and it may be such that it's too late to make those amendments to the legislation. That said, it's still worthwhile, supporting this. I personally think it's a good idea, and let me just go through the letter. Based on a template that I received from this group, I guess, working. It's unclear to me who this group is, but they're affiliated with the Karuna Center in Northampton.
Yeah, so the Karuna Peace Center has had a land rematriation, I don't know what you call it, study group
Mhm.
that I've been a part of for the last year. And so this letter came to my attention because I was on that list. And so there's been an ongoing process of studying and discussing different models of land rematriation and how nonprofit groups can support it, that process. So my understanding is that the Nipmuc Nation is interested in obtaining ownership of this land. I did have an email exchange with the chief of the Nipmuc Nation today to confirm that.
Right. Okay, let me just read through it real quick. because I did tweak it a bit since I sent it out this afternoon. In the name of the Shutesbury Historical Commission, I am writing to express my support. Okay, wait, got a raised hand here. Yeah, Mary Lou, is that you raising your hand?
Yes, but I can wait. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, we're writing to express support for the return of Lamson Brook Farm land to the Nipmuc people, the original inhabitants of much of our region and central Massachusetts. Most of the tribe's traditional homelands were taken from them based on self-serving colonial law or by outright theft. The Nipmuc people currently have sovereignty over less than 4 acres of land. The Hassanamisco Reservation in Grafton. Return or rematriation of stolen indigenous land is a critical step in correcting the historical record in the Commonwealth and offering some form of compensation. Massachusetts ranks at the bottom of states with land under indigenous authority, not to mention acknowledgement of their relics throughout the landscape. The SHC considers rematriation a key aspect of its work to acknowledge and preserve indigenous relics, particularly since Nipmuc descendants continue to live in the state and beyond. The best outcome would be that the state return the land at no cost to the tribe. State Senator Lesser should be urged to amend Bill S 2972 to return all parcels of the land except for the Jason House parcel already assigned to the New England Small Farms Institute. This legislation is currently written, recognizes NEFC's history with the land by giving the Jepson House parcel to NESFI for free. The same privilege should be accorded to the Nipmuc people. Where are we? Sorry. Who have a history and relationship with the land that goes back thousands of years. This history and relationship should be recognized and honored. If the legislation cannot be amended at this time, the Nipmuc people should be prioritized and given first consideration in the proposed RFP process. The management plan should be amended with a clause to minimize or eliminate restrictions and oversight if the land goes back to the Nipmuc people. Returning land to Nipmuc stewardship with full sovereignty is the most ecologically sound and just decision that can be made for this project. Full sovereignty means no restrictions and no state or local oversight. Nipmuc have sustainably managed the eastern woodlands for thousands of years and will continue to do so. The current climate crisis that threatens the survival of the planet calls into question Western assumptions regarding the unbridled exploitation of nature. By contrast, indigenous people offer a view of the world based on a deep respect for nature and ways of living in harmony with it. We have a lot to learn from them. The return of land to indigenous stewardship is a beautiful vision of hope for us all. Anyway, I used parts of the original suggested and actually altered, modified significant portions of it. I thought it was, the writing was not very clear. Yes, Miriam.
I think Mary Lou had a question first.
Mary Lou.
Yes, hi. So I just have a question. A few. What is WMSURJ?
Okay. Yeah, Miriam, you know what that is? Here we go.
That's Western Mass standing up for racial justice.
Racial justice.
All that would be taken out of the letter, right, Henry? That all
Yeah,
that's
this will
Yes.
be deleted. We're going to send it to these people who are on the board. What's important here is
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Lamson Brook Farm is in Belchertown, no?
Correct.
And then these board members Tammy, Bob, Kurt, Jonathan, Nicholas, David, and Gerard. They're board members of the farm, but who owns the farm?
Well, I guess this has been a state property. Am I correct on this?
Yes.
Oh,
It's
Yeah,
owned by the state and was leased. And the lease is expiring and the state is interested in finding someone to assume permanent ownership.
so the lease is expiring. What does that mean? Somebody has been paying the state to use that land?
I don't
Yes.
know if we're paying
We
or
don't,
not.
we don't know what the details are.
Ah,
The point is that they're in transition now to give this land to appropriate stewards. And the Nipmuc have stepped forward as a potential steward.
okay. So Miriam, earlier you said you spoke with the chief of the Nipmuc tribe. Can you tell us who you spoke to?
I spoke with Cheryl. I didn't speak with anybody. I had an email exchange with Cheryl Tony Holly.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. You said communicated.
Is that
I
right?
just figured you
Mm.
talked. Was Cheryl who?
Cheryl, Chief Holly, Cheryl Tony Holly.
Cheryl Tony, Holly?
Ley.
Ley. Thank you. And I have one more. Wait a minute. So in effect, Henry, what you're asking then that the historical commission signs on in support of this bill, S22972?
Well, yeah, in support of amending that bill so that
Right.
these people could participate in this process. Yeah.
Okay, and a final thing, if I can, if I could. A while back, Kayana entered our conversation and she talked about land back, and I'm feeling like this is what we now have an opportunity to participate in. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Thank-
we can only support it. We can't, we have no power to enforce anything regarding land, rematriation, as they call it. Yep.
Mm. But this is like, feels to me like a step toward that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mary Lou,
Thank you.
land rematriation is basically the same thing as land back.
Right. It's a big word.
Well,
I got my
it's a-
dictionary out, but land back sounds better. Thank you.
it's a politically correct way of saying it instead of saying repatriation, which has the PAT, which is like pater, if you know Latin, father, it refers the reference to a male. Rematriation, mater, mother. So it's just a little play on words.
Wow.
Only in Massachusetts. Okay, moving right along. Any other questions? Miriam,
Yeah, Henry, can you just scroll back up to the top of the letter
top of the letter.
or scroll down?
This is the top of the letter. Oh, the
Yeah, just
letter
scroll
itself.
down. I know,
Yeah.
scroll down. So I would say, no, scroll back up a little bit. I would just say, Dear Lamson Brook Farm Board. I wouldn't call them by their first names. I think it's a little informal.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And
except that, Miriam, I don't think Pete and Elizabeth and Raina are members of the board.
was
No?
If
that
you
right?
look at the thing further up, no, the first two are consultants working with them, and I don't know, Raina then works for Capital Asset Management.
That's correct.
So
That's
the
correct.
others are board members, but not the first
So
three.
we'll have to specify their names and then the
Yeah.
board itself.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so Pete Westover is with a conservation group. All right, I don't, that's fine. And just so you know, they were, Elizabeth Roblica, who is part of that thread, also was part of the Corona land rematriation study group.
Okay.
Anyway, so I would just say on behalf of the Shutesbury Historical Commission,
Mhm.
instead of in the name. And I would say, I am writing to express our support.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, did this very fast. Yeah. Our support, yes. There you go. Any other thoughts? As I'm reading this again, we make some pretty bold statements about sovereignty, which I think are, I personally politically, I'm fine with. But I'm wondering, this paragraph here, this paragraph basically sums up, minimizing restrictions and oversight of the land, going back to the NIMA. Well, that's, it's stated there. This kind of elaborates on it. This following paragraph says, well, here, let me tell you, sovereignty this is what sovereignty looks like. I'm not sure it's even necessary, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. It's just there's a bit of redundancy there, and it forces whoever reads this and to take it seriously. It forces them to to consider a much more grand sort of notion of sovereignty, hard sovereignty. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I mean, we could leave it in there. It's just I think it's summed up here already. My sense was that in rewriting this letter, it was full of redundancies, and this seems to be a bit redundant.
I think
No.
it reinforces.
Yeah, and it has this sentence: they've sustainably managed the eastern woodlands for thousands of years, and we assume they will do so, even though they haven't. Unless they're probably living in cities, or they're gonna have a lot to learn about the land, maybe.
Well, Henry, can I just say something? I think, like even those comments, I hate to be contrary here, but
Yep.
The comments you're even making, suggesting that, kind of questioning whether they know what to do with this land. I feel like that's the whole point of sovereignty, is that we are not in a position
I agree.
to
No, I agree.
comment or editorialize on how they use the land. It's their land, and
I
they're
agree.
an
No.
independent nation.
That's right.
So, I think it's really hard for people to wrap their brain around what sovereignty means, because it means, that we don't get to say.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Yeah.
that's
No, I
really
think
important.
you're right. You're right. We'll leave it there. Leave it as is.
I had a quick little piece of information. I was checking around a little bit about this, and I was told that there's about 200 acres altogether. About 150 of them are woodland, just to have some idea on size there.
Right.
Was it 200 acres?
Yeah, about 200 altogether.
Yeah. Okay. So we need to get this out by the 9th, couple days. So do we need to vote on the letter?
Yes.
So
And I have a quick
Oh.
question, if I could.
yeah.
And that was
Meredith.
from Miriam.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
and that was, thank you. And that was from Miriam. And this is, anyway, you said something about Elizabeth Warblica.
Roblica.
Yes, Roblica. Was on a Corona something. I didn't catch the rest of what you said.
The Karuna Peace Center.
Oh, Corona. You didn't say Corona.
Karuna
Thank
Peace-
you.
Yeah. Study group.
Okay. All right. So let's take a vote.
We need a motion.
We need a motion. Motion to accept the letter as written, to be sent to the board and other individuals in support of the Nipmuc participation in this land distribution.
Should we also send one to someone at the Nipmuc Nation, just to, I was just wondering whether they want to keep track of
Yes.
people
Sure,
sending stuff,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
would,
or
I-
Corona, someone.
yeah, I can help Henry. I can help you with a distribution list because I've got
Mhm.
everybody's emails. But I think it should be on our town letterhead, not in just the body of an email, so that it can be attached to different things.
All right, yep. And town
have-
letterhead, where do I get that?
I have it.
You have it, send me a copy.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right.
So anyway, we need a second.
I'll
Need a
second.
All right, second. Let's go around then. Let's see who starts here. Mary Lou Conca. What say you, Mary Lou?
Aye. Yes, I say aye. Takes me a second for the, that bottom line to come up so I can unmute.
All right.
Aye.
Yeah. Who else is on here?
Karen's
Karen,
on.
right.
Karen.
Miriam Fun.
Aye.
Henry Geddes, aye. Janice Stone.
Aye, and you're gonna ask Karen too?
Karen Sharonka.
Yes, yes.
I keep hearing a W there. It's overwhelming. I can't see the C for the W. Anyway, it sounds like it's a winner, folks.
Good.
All right. Up next, we've
Oh,
got,
can I say one more thing? Sorry. Can we
Yeah.
see it before, can we see the final piece before it goes out? Like, you know what I'm saying?
now you're asking
Can
a
we be
lot.
included? Can we be included in that many email, like, you know, each commissioner?
Well, I
Right?
could send you a copy. I mean, yeah, I mean, I
Thank
guess I can do that. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll
Thank
send
you.
it out. I'll send it out straight away. But if it's got to go out in the next day. So a very short
Yeah,
deadline.
time's running out.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, CPA Guide Board proposal.
Well, Henry, I don't know. I have policy regarding Old Town Hall Historical Collection. I think you have an old agenda list.
I must have, I got it from the website. This was on the website. So
Did you get
yeah.
it today, though?
I did.
That's weird.
I just copied what was on the calendar.
Okay.
Anyway, no, I stand corrected. What is it again?
Policy regarding Old Town Hall Historical Collection.
Policy, yes, yeah, yes. An item, yeah. Now, we do have a policy. And there were questions about it from Mary Lou.
Yes, I'm interested in viewing the Old Town Hall HC collection.
Mhm. Right,
That's
right.
it. That's it. Very simple.
It's simple dimple. Well, at the moment, as far as I know, it's, everything is closed. And when you go in there, you need somebody to go with you. That is to say, somebody who knows what's there. I believe that's what the policy says. So it's a question of who's got the key. Leslie has key, and Miriam, and as we as we get over the COVID thing, I think in time, it should be more possible to do this, right? At this point, when did you want to go in there and why?
Okay. As soon as it can be arranged, and so that as a Shutesbury Historic Commissioner, I have the ability to know what is being discussed when it comes up in our agenda. So
Mary Lou,
I'm asking, I'm
Mary
sorry,
Lou,
Miriam,
I
I'm
have a
answering,
I just had a
I'm
question.
sorry, Miriam, I'm answering Henry.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Um,
Mario.
What?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that I have a an equal opportunity to view the Old Town Hall Historical Commission collection. That's it. It's just a very basic, simple
Yeah.
request
Well,
of a,
what you need there, Mary Lou, is a tour. The only person who really knows what's in there and can show it to you and explain what's there is Leslie
right,
Bracebridge.
okay,
Yeah. The rest of us are novices. You know, and it's
right, okay, thank you.
so you know, you need a tour that needs to be arranged.
Right,
Miriam.
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just reminding the commission that we've talked a number of times about the historical collection and what the policies are. There is a policy that was established a long time ago, I think 1995, which established that this is not a collection that is routinely open to the public. It's a private collection. Materials can't be removed from the collection. So it's not a lending library. And what we have done in the past for people who have research projects is we've gone in and obtained materials, copied them or scanned them or photographed them, and then gave them to those individuals. They didn't even handle the materials. So we've been careful, and Leslie's been very careful about ensuring that the filing system remains intact. And as anyone who has worked in an office knows, it's often best to have only a small number of people who are going in and out of files so that things get returned in the proper order. So that policy has been around for a long time. When I came on the commission last year, we had a discussion. There was an agreement, I think it was in October or November meeting, that Leslie and I would be the key holders. Leslie, because she is in a special role as a researcher for the commission. So I would like to formalize Leslie's role here, and I'd like to make a motion that the commission approve and appoint her as a research consultant for the commission with the authority to have access to the collection and follow up on research requests. So
Right.
that's my motion. I'd like to have us also really, and I think she would really appreciate it from conversations I've had with her. I think recommending that she be appointed as an associate commissioner, which we've had in the past as associate commissioners. I think she would appreciate that as an honor. So, but I'm going to make that as a second motion. But first, I'd like to get this particular motion reviewed.
Okay, just by way of, in case there's any discussion or an addition to that motion, wanted to hear from Janice, who had her hand up. Or,
Okay, I didn't want to get too far off the base. I was just going to say that this, first of all, this time of year, it's extremely cold in there. So it's not a good time to go in. I don't think anyone wants to go in there or can be in there for long. And second of all, as long as there are concerns about COVID, it's a very tiny space. And you can't be 6 feet apart in that room.
Mm.
So I don't think that it's appropriate for now for that either. That's all.
Okay. Mary Lou, is that a comment, discussion?
Well, there's a
Yeah.
motion. Henry, there's a
Yeah.
motion on the floor. You haven't asked for a second.
We
Oh.
haven't had any discussion, Miriam. I don't get it.
Well, I think first you ask for a second and then you can have discussion.
All right, well, let's,
I thought you couldn't have discussion when the motion is on the floor.
No, you can.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Janice.
Yeah.
okay, go for it, Mary Lou.
Okay, so my question is, wasn't Leslie already an associate? Because I have a list that has her listed as an associate from way back when, number one. Number two, this wasn't on the agenda, so I mean, we're kind of going off. And number three, I'm not clear. I understand why it's so difficult for my wanting to view the records. So I find it quite, I find it a bit difficult to understand how a commissioner's request to review the historic commission's records is just being so confounded. And so I don't know, but at any rate, still very interested to look at them, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay. So your hand is up still, Miriam, is that for any particular reason?
Want to call the vote?
Yeah, let's call the vote then. Mary Lou Conco,
Yeah, at this time, I would say no.
okay. Karen Sharonka,
I'm not too sure what I'm voting on. Recommending that associate commission for Leslie?
yeah, and
Well, I guess
Yeah.
the motion wasn't for, I was gonna make that as a separate motion. It was that we appoint her as a research consultant for the historical collection.
Okay, so then I'm confused too. I thought we were voting on associate. For Leslie, so there are two different votes then, hey?
That's what I was planning.
Yeah. Okay, so for the first one, we're looking for her to be a research consultant. I would say aye. Thank you.
well, I guess we need to do this again.
Oh, that's okay, isn't it? What she just did?
Well, we separated out one from the other.
Yeah.
Are we gonna vote on the on the associate?
Separately.
Membership?
Henry, let me repeat the motion.
Well,
So
you,
I am moving for the commission to appoint Leslie Bracebridge as a research consultant with access, with possession of the keys to the collection and the authority to oversee research and organization of the collection.
okay. Believe,
Now,
okay,
So that's what it is.
all right, going around, and we had a second from Janice, yes?
Yep. Yep.
So, once again, Mary Lou Conca,
Aye.
Karen Zarwonka,
Aye.
Miriam DeFont,
Aye.
Henry Geddes, I, Janice Stone,
Aye.
obviously. Okay, so we're gonna vote on the associate thing as well.
Yeah, so I'm moving that we recommend that to the select board that she be appointed as an associate commissioner.
Do I hear a second?
I'll
Second.
second it. Okay.
Who seconded?
Who was that? Karen?
Karen.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
it now open for discussion or not?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so Miriam, was Leslie not already listed as an associate?
No, I don't believe she ever was appointed. She was on the commission as a commissioner and then she resigned.
Okay,
Okay. Going around the room then, Mary Lou Conca.
so at this time, I would say no.
Okay. Karen Swonka.
I'll say yes.
Righty.
Aye.
Miriam, yeah. Miriam DeFont.
Yes.
Henry Geddes, aye. Janice Stone.
Aye.
Kidok. Hand's still up there, Mary Lou. Hello. Okay.
I put it down. Thank you.
All right, okay. Moving it right to Loeb. Can we do the CPA guide board proposal now? I think that's next. Miriam, do you want to say something about it?
Yeah, I have been working on this draft application. And I have been reaching out to various conservation groups, preservation groups, to get recommendations for where to find specialists, and have accumulated a list of like half a dozen people that I've been able to make contact with. Some of them have been willing to talk on the phone with me, or look at photographs of the guide board and have a back and forth conversation about their recommendations. So we're kind of at this point where I've put together this proposal. What happens with the CPA with these kind of situations is that the proposal gets approved. The contracting is to be determined. So there's a timeline in the proposal where between now and town meeting, we would refine the proposal and the details and get bids, written bids from contractors. And then if the proposal is approved by town meeting, we would then, because this is a competitive bid process, we would review those bids with the select board, because they own, they oversee town common and it's a possession of the town. So they need to have some role in the bidding. We can't just approve a contractor without their say so. So hopefully we would agree on who we thought was the appropriate contractor. The select board would hopefully agree with us, or we'd have some negotiation around that. A contract would get executed in July in the new fiscal year, and then work would begin, and with the hope that with it could be completed in 6 months.
Okay,
And
and
I
that,
kind of
that-
outline in the proposal what the process would look like. So there's been a little bit of tweaking that I've done since I sent you that draft. Leslie Bracebridge found a couple of little minor edits that she recommended that I can show you if I do a screen share. And I have added a little bit of language to clarify kind of the steps in the process, which I can show you as well.
let me give you that authority.
Okay. Do I have to? I probably have to.
There you go.
Okay. Give me a sec. Find the right document. Okay, can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, so I put in red the things that I've changed from the document that I shared with you. So right here, Leslie suggested removing the word playfully when referring to Ripton, because there's some people who feel that the guide board was being vandalized. by people who are putting Ripton up without authorization. So, and she thought that using the word playfully might encourage misuse of a town resource. So I took it out. I didn't think it was that important. Though there are some people who really would like to see Ripton put back on the guide board. Down here, where I talk about the cupola that was added, we don't know originally when it was built in the early 19th century what kind of roofing material was on it. All we know is that around 1911, there's a photograph that shows that it had asphalt shingles. So instead of saying original, I just said at one time it was covered in asphalt shingles,
That's good.
which is technically more correct. And then down here where I talk about great care must be taken because the guide board is historically significant, may contain hazardous materials and is fragile. The point being, you know, that nobody has proven or done a test to determine that there is lead. But there most definitely is lead because it has a lead cap on it, and that's been, rain has been dissolving that lead. So the whole thing is lead contaminated, and it was, you know, built at a time where lead paint was widely used. So there are many, many coats of lead paint on it. So it definitely is a hazardous, involves hazardous materials, but again, may contain hazardous materials. Then down here where I'm talking about the steps in the process, I added this sentence here. I guess that should have been read. Assessment of the structure, that we would contract with somebody who would take the structure to their workshop so they could do a more careful examination and give us some feedback before going on to do the actual renovation work. Because, and here's the point, if the project as we are conceptualizing it is found to either be technically or fiscally unfeasible, meaning, you know, that either they discover like some problem that makes it cost $50,000 instead of whatever we are contracting for, that we would have them return it to us or possibly authorize them to create a replica. So the other alternative some of the preservationists have recommended is that if it is beyond repair, and trying to do any repairs on it will just destroy it because it's about to fall apart. If that is found to be the case, if it's not structurally sound enough, then what we probably want to do is have something besides, you know, rather than just letting it sit and dissolve and on town common, we could advise the town to put it in the old town hall as a museum piece and then build a replica that is more sustainable for a longer period of time.
What kind of price is that?
Well, that would be less expensive probably than the restoration, because the restoration is very tricky work, very time consuming, dealing with hazardous materials, whereas building something fresh out of fresh wood using modern materials would be less expensive and less labor intensive.
Well, that sounds better to me.
And then I'm seeing if let me looking if there's any other added text. Okay, so under other funding sources, we're hoping to get a small donation from the Friends of the Shutesbury Historical Commission, amount to be determined. And then I added this sentence, and I guess I'm not really sure whether we should have it in or not, that we're exploring other grant sources. Since we're not, I think that kind of might lead people to think that perhaps we have another grant source. And since we haven't found one yet, I'm kind of inclined not to add this. I put it in, and now I'm kind of thinking it's a little confusing. So my suggestion is to take that out.
Yeah,
Right.
if they want us to do more, we can do more. We can try in the meantime, but there's no surety to it.
Right. And I've been looking at other grants that are available. And unfortunately, there are some problems that we would have to overcome, and it might be time consuming. And we wouldn't probably not be able to get any grant funds for a few years.
Oh,
Mass Historical Commission has a preservation grant, but it's only for structures that have been nominated for the National Register of Historic Places.
oh,
And I've had an email exchange with an official at MHC who said, we can do that. We can nominate it, but it takes 18 months to 2 years. And then we could apply for a grant with the state after that. So
Oh.
probably looking at like 3 years. In the future, that is something we could do. Is go through nominating the structure and or all of Town Common as a historical district, because there was a recommendation when this, Margaret Kepler did the survey in 2002, she did document all of Town Common as a historical district site, and we have all of that research available. So we could assemble an application to the National Register, which would be cool. I'd like to do that. In which case, you know, down the line, if we want some funds, then we'd be eligible.
mhm.
Just to be clear, Miriam, you're looking at 10,000 from the CPA. Yeah, okay.
You have 10,000 and 5,000 from our donation account,
Yeah,
unless, you know, other funds become available that could offset that.
Mhm.
I have been talking a little bit with Joan Hanson about, you know, whether the Friends of the Shutesbury Historical Commission could maybe help with fundraising. And, you know, nothing's been decided by them, but they're thinking about ways they might be able to support us. They would like to see this guide board protected. So I'm just looking to see if there's anything
Good.
else added. I don't think there's anything different from what you guys had already seen.
So you said 2,000 from the Historical Commission?
No,
Funds?
no,
Five.
5,000.
Okay, because page 6 has it as 2,000 on
Yeah,
my
that was-
copy.
that
Oh,
was
it's been corrected. Oh, okay. All right. And on page 5, under section 5, community support, maybe you've already corrected that. There was a slight typo there. It's talking about halfway down, Historical Commission have expressed their support for this project, including the offer of, instead of final support, it should be financial support. Yeah, it's right near your clicker, third line. Yeah, I assume that's financial rather than final, or is it?
I think I want to just take that out
Okay.
because, you know, they haven't decided how much they want to give us.
Yeah,
And again, you know, if we don't know, why
yeah.
angle that?
Okay.
But there is an attached letter of support from them.
Okay.
So, yeah, what are we gonna do about this? I guess you're still working on it, Miriam.
Well, this is pretty done. as
Okay.
far as I can get it done for the purposes of, you know,
Mhm.
submitting it.
Yeah, it
We
looks
did have a
very good. It
conversation.
looks really good.
I talked to Alan Hansen and asked him, I said, what happens if we discover that we can't restore it, that it's too far gone? And he said, you know, you can restore or rehabilitate or replace it with a replica as you see fit, if the funds have been approved.
Yeah, Janice.
Yeah, I just had one other thing I didn't quite understand about the bids, that you were going to get some bids from people, so we had a better concept of what we need for funds. But how do you do that? How do you get bids that you can open at that time? And then will you have new ones later for the select board approval process? Or, you know, usually you get all the bids in, no one sees them until it's ready for the opening, and then someone decides in the next couple weeks or something who wins. how would this work in terms of getting better information for costs and then also having an actual bid process?
So the first step is having informal conversations in order to flesh out what we think is our scope of what we want. Because
Okay.
we have to ask all of the potential people who are interested in bidding or that we are going to request for a bid of, we need to have written down and giving them all the same instructions.
Right.
So they're all bidding on the same set of instructions. So that informal conversation is ongoing, and I've been collecting information, which we can discuss at a later meeting. We don't need to have that fleshed out more than this at this stage in the game because we're not entertaining bids yet. And some of the people who have said they're going to send me some information have not gotten back to me yet. So it's just premature to actually have bids.
Yeah,
I will say that I've asked people to give me ballparks, and without getting into all the details right now about who offered what, because I don't think I can do that in a meeting. I think it has to be done in an executive session because we're discussing contracting.
Mhm.
There's a big
Oh.
range.
Okay,
So-
folks, somebody waiting to get in here. I didn't see them.
Oh.
Yes, I
Uh,
just added them.
Did you let them in?
I did.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know who it is, if they could
Yeah.
identify themselves.
Welcome. You just joined. Who is that?
I
Micah?
see it says MICHA. Yeah, Micah.
Yeah. Could you identify yourself, please? You might be muted there. Is that Micah? Michael? Hello?
You gotta push *6.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me? Just joined the meeting. Oh, they disappeared.
Ah.
Yeah, that's why you gotta ask.
I forget the name of who that is. They often come on meetings and don't identify themselves. I do have it, that name, who it
Ah.
is,
Alright.
but I don't have it
So-
handy.
Right.
Just finishing that question, the bottom of page 6 is where that time frame, February to May, solicitation of bids. So that sounds like a more formal process, and maybe that's not really quite what you're going to be doing. Informal solicitation of bids or informal information gathering or something, or how do you
Can't
want to
find
say
it.
that?
Where is
Yeah,
it?
at least on mine, it's the bottom of page 6. It might be different on your version.
Well,
Must be the next one up. No,
I-
there it is. Okay,
Right.
yep.
I'm not sure what you're saying. What would be
Under
the-
8A, solicitation of bids sounds like the formal bid process, but it's not, right? The February through May,
what do you mean by a formal bid process?
where you have sealed bids and they're opened, at one time,
Oh, I
know,
wasn't thinking of that.
that's
process.
what that sounds like.
Is that necessary? Okay, why don't we just say review of bids?
Okay. Or, yeah, review of, whatever. Yeah, something along that line. It just sounds like you were going through a formal bid process when you do a solicitation of bids.
right.
but-
All right.
Okay,
My bad, Lane.
no, that's all right.
I don't know how to do that, so. that was-
Yeah.
All right, Mary Lou, you had your hand up.
Yeah, so it's still sounding like there are three options of what we're going to do with the guideposts. At what point is that final decision going to be made? And when we vote on this CPA, which I figure we're doing tonight, right? We're gonna put a vote forward on this proposal. Do we have to know which of the three options that we're going forward on?
Sounds like we won't know that for a while.
No, we won't
Uh.
know. We won't know until somebody starts working on the guide board,
Mhm.
whether whether they can restore it or whether they should replicate it, so that we would hire somebody who's capable of doing both, so that they can assess it, and then they'd come back to us and discuss what the options are, and then we would authorize them to move forward.
Okay.
So I guess this is the process is that we got through the first hurdle, which is that the CPA accepted a preliminary application. This is the formal application with the caveat that at some point we will determine more or less what it's going to cost exactly or approximately, and which option is best to take up.
And
Did I
then
summarize that?
it's up to town meeting in the end to vote on whether they,
Right,
agree.
that's correct, yeah.
Oh, you mean that we could go all the way through and this second proposal that Miriam is composing, and then it goes in front of town hall and they say no?
Well, we don't know.
They could vote no if it, yeah?
That's what it comes down to.
Well, Mary
Yeah.
Lou, what we would do
Oh.
is we would get bids, we would get estimates from
Yes,
contractors.
yes. Yes, yes, I know. I'm just saying that all that work will be done, and then
Well-
because I didn't realize that that was like a one more step to this all, but I
Well, let me-
get it.
So we would, we would have some conversations and review contractors, and hopefully it would coalesce with one contractor standing out anyway that we want to go with. And then
Right.
they would provide, or multiple contractors would give us written proposals. And then we would have to wait for town meeting, but so, it isn't that much time. And then there would be a vote on town meeting, and if it's approved, then we would, we would finalize a contract with somebody and get them going.
See, I didn't know that was a step in this. I never knew. So, like,
Well, when they're giving
good
away
enough.
when they're giving away money, they want to really make sure, there are
The
different steps
town.
where, you
Yeah.
want to make sure everything is in order.
Well, this
Yeah,
is
you see,
required by the
I-
law. The Community Preservation Act requires that it be approved by town meeting.
right, I never knew that was a step in this all.
Okay, so do we want to take a vote on this today, Miriam?
Well, we have to, or else
Yeah.
we won't be able to submit it.
All right, your word is the law here. Let's go for it. Mary Lou Conca,
You have to have a motion, Henry.
no, sorry. I move to accept the application as written by Miriam Defont for the town guide board.
Do you want to say with the possibility of a word here or there changed, or is it completely final, Miriam?
I think that we should vote on it tonight. So I'd say if there's words that we should be reviewing that now.
Okay, I would vote aye, as is.
We don't have a
Did
second.
you add- Oh, a second, I'm sorry.
There you go. Okay, Mary Lou Conca, what say you?
Well,
I say
did you-
aye.
I'm sorry.
I'm
who seconded?
seconding it and saying aye. Is that okay?
There you go.
Mary- Got it.
Okay. Karen Zerwonka.
Do you mind explain? Miriam is going to write a letter?
No, we're voting on this application that we just discussed.
And Karen has a copy of the one before, not the updated one, but the one before. Karen, I brought it to your house. It's for the guidepost.
Yes.
Okay.
So how do you vote, Karen?
What,
What is your vote?
what is the vote for Miriam to continue researching for the signpost?
To apply. To
To
apply
apply?
to the, yes, to apply for grant money to the CPA.
Certainly. Okay.
So you,
Aye.
thank you.
Grant money. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Miriam DeFont,
Aye.
Henry Geddes, aye. Janice Stone,
Aye.
it passes.
All right, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Okay, up next, Shrub. Don't know what it means, but no.
Okay, so this was the small grant for office supplies. I just want to let you guys know that we approved it at the last meeting and I submitted it. So I'm sure we'll
Okay.
get it and then we'll have to buy a bunch of stuff.
Okay, good.
Okay, we don't need to do anything on that then?
Nope.
All right, and finally, at least what I've got, Southbrook Conservation Area mapping.
I don't have any updates.
Okay. Any other unanticipated business?
I just want to let people know that we got contacted by the Jones Library. They had in their collections some antique annual reports for Shutesbury that they are donating to us.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Right.
So we haven't received them yet, but they'll go in the collection, in the storage collection.
Okay, great. Good, thanks.
Yeah. Anything else on the radar?
Wow, we're out early.
I know, it's just about that time.
Hooray.
1 hour in, I think it's a record.
Yes.
So I move to end our meeting today. Anybody second?
I'll second,
second.
All right, we got a lot of eager beavers here.
whichever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I guess we got a second from Janice Stone. All right, going around, Mary Lou Conco,
Aye.
Karen Zerwonka,
Aye.
Miriam DeFont,
Aye.
Henry Geddes, aye, and Janice Stone.
Aye.
When is our
Set
next
the
meeting?
date.
Say
Did we
again?
want to set a date?
Oh, for the next meeting? I think we
Oh,
have one,
yes.
don't we?
I think it would be at the end of, well, we have another date, I think scheduled in February, but I don't know that we need to meet. That would be the 23rd. And then we also have, I believe, the 7th of March. So I would suggest that we just hold off to the 7th of March unless we have something critical that
Okay.
we have to.
Well, we can keep that date in February in case we need it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay,
Good idea.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for your support. I
Well,
don't know.
thank you for all the work.
I don't
Yeah.
know. if It's a pie in the sky, but you know,
It's raising awareness. Whatever happens, it's whatever the
whatever.
town decides.
Right.
Yep.
And you know, one of the things I just want to share is that I had a couple conversations with Leslie and with Joan Hansen about like fundraising for this in case people wanted to donate money. And we can't solicit donations. We're not allowed to fundraise because we're a municipal
Mhm.
body. The Friends of the Shutesbury Historical Commission could raise funds. And a private individual could do a fundraising. Like, for example, a private individual could do a GoFundMe page or something and raise money and circulate information about the guide board. So I don't know if anybody will come forward wanting to do that, but there are possibilities that maybe there could be donations. People can donate money to us. We can accept donations. We just can't go out asking for it. So
Mhm.
people can send money to the commission for this purpose. But we can't be soliciting it. So,
Okay.
Good to
So-
know.
So could the the Friends be selling those coffee mugs in the library for this project?
well,
someone-
they could, and
that, yeah.
they do sell stuff like that. And they have a fund because they've been collecting money for years. So they do have some
Yeah.
money at their disposal. And, they're not particularly comfortable doing the kind of online, like GoFundMe sort of. If you're a charitable organization, they're registered as a charity. So there are like GoFundMe accounts you can open up as a charity because you're tax exempt, and you can do fundraising digitally online, which is kind of like how everybody does it these days. Because then people just, it's a click and you pay through PayPal or something. But if they're not comfortable doing that, maybe somebody else will decide to do it, or maybe there could be just, word of mouth. I don't know.
Well, when the time comes, I'm willing to help, whatever form we're using.
Okay. We can't do it though.
Yeah, right.
Right.
But I mean, whether it's stuffing envelopes or, something.
Yeah, if
Along
they,
that line.
yeah, though I even think if we actually are helping with it, I don't know if that's even a conflict. I'm not sure.
Well, we can check with the Attorney General or Secretary of State or whatever and
Yeah,
find
that
out
would be
about
good.
that.
Would be good to know.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
All right, thank
If I
you.
can help,
Have a good night.
if I
Good
can
night all.
help,
Bye-bye.
if I can help.
Okay,
Okay,
good,
thank you,
Karen,
Karen.
thank you.
Okay, thanks, yeah.
Thanks for
Ciao.
coming.
Ciao.
Night.
Good
Yeah.
night. Good night.